What is up? Good morning. Happy Saturday and welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 232. I'm trying a new coffee this morning. This is from Peet's Coffee. Now, I thought Peet's was a local roaster, but apparently it's not. I looked on the bag. I picked it up at Target, which I'll get to, my Target run yesterday. But I looked at the bag and it's made in Berkeley, California. So maybe Peet's, and I think there's a Peet's location down by this Target I was at, which is it's the closest Target to the University of Wisconsin campus. Go Badgers. Bucky won last night, beat North Carolina. I was shocked by that. I thought the Tar Heels would win. Anyway, so maybe Peet's is like a college retail, a college chain, like what's that one coffee bagel place? Einstein's. That's a big like coffee or college town coffee place. So maybe Peet's, Peets, is the same. I'll have to look that up. I can't remember which bag I bought, but it's not bad. It's okay. What's up, Matt? Good morning. So a little coffee talk. My coffee this morning is from Peet's, Peets. So things that I want to talk about today. My bracket is busted like probably everybody else's. But I won't go into that. I had Ohio State in the Final Four. Oral Roberts wins that. My wife had Tennessee in the Final Four. In fact, Tennessee was a 5 seed. I had 3 12 seed upsets. 3 of the 4. Guess what? Guess which one wasn't? Yeah, I had Tennessee as the only number 5 seed to win, and they lost. My wife is down already after day 1. She's down to 13 in the Sweet 16. She lost Tennessee. She had Michigan State winning the play-in game and then getting to the Sweet 16. And then she had I can't remember who the third team was. But I digress. What's up, George? Good morning. So I want to talk about my eBay appeal, which I mentioned on yesterday's show, and my Target run. And I think I'm going to make a card shop run today. So my eBay appeal. So yesterday morning, I woke up to one of those awesome eBay emails. I had somebody open a claim. I'll try to make this short because you probably heard it yesterday. $8 Talon Horton Tucker Silver Pulsar, shipped with tracking, PWE. Was stuck in Milwaukee for like 2 weeks. They opened up a request for item not received. Tracking shows it's been in Milwaukee for 2 weeks. So I go to the USPS website, open up a lost mail claim with the tracking number, all the info. Boom, like 2 days later, it starts moving. It's delivered, and it shows delivered. Now, in the meantime, when I'm responding to the request through eBay's portal, I sent a message. I opened up a lost mail claim. I'll keep you posted. Then I entered the tracking, which was already in the eBay system. And that's pretty much, unless you like do some hard Googling, that's the only place you can track your PWE tracking shipments. So I entered just to have it in the claim form. Guess what? It shows nothing. It shows 0 tracking. It wiped out everything. So I'm like, okay, at least it'll show it in the listing itself when I go back into my sold listings. No, it erased everything. So now I'm ticked. So I do some Googling. I find the website where you can track these shipments with the ESUS number. I had to Google like 3 different terms before I found a website with the tracking. I think I Googled ESUS track my shipment, and I think that might have been the website name, track my shipment or something. And it's legit because it showed it had all the timestamps, like, okay, this was scanned in Verona at X time on February 20th. So yeah, it's been a month. It hit Milwaukee. It was stuck in Milwaukee 2 weeks. Boom, got released, delivered on X date. So everything was in there. So I received an email yesterday from eBay saying we favored for the buyer and they'll be refunded $8 because you didn't provide tracking that shows delivered. Are you kidding me? So now I'm pissed. So I go into the appeal process. What's up, Zach? Good morning. So the appeal process was, I had kind of weave through. So boom, there's a quick link. You can appeal, like it shows right on the claim. You can appeal this, click here. You click there, and there's nowhere to appeal the whole process. So I had to weave around. I had to read it like 3 times before I was able to navigate to the actual appeal process. What's up, Dan? Good morning. So I found it. I filled everything out. I had my screen showing the whole tracking line. I went into as much detail as I could. I added my own little editorial that your PWE tracking is a mess. And then I copy and pasted the exact tracking. I'm like, it shows delivered. This is your tracking. And so it was quick work. They filed in my favor last night. So I mean, 12 hours later, they refunded my $8. I got the $8 back. And they said, we file, your appeal is successful. You showed proof of delivery. Here's your $8. So it did work. Kind of a tedious, annoying process, but hey, for $8, I'm going to put in a little work. If it was 99 cents, well, I wouldn't have shipped it with tracking with 99 cents, but you know, if it was a couple bucks, I probably just wouldn't have wasted that time. I can use that time to do other things. But I'm going to sit down and spend a half an hour trying to appeal this for $8. So that was my appeal process. In the meantime, and I'm going to call this person out probably this weekend at some point if they don't reply. So I sold a card. It was a good card, $5. This was before tracking. Jeter Downs, first edition, like numbered to 150, which it's probably worth 15 now, and I sold it for $5. Shipped in like late December. December 28th was when they bought and paid for it. So I probably shipped it, around that time, December 29th, probably. So it's what, yesterday was March 19th. I receive a request, one of those stupid claim requests from eBay. I never received this card. And I'm like, gosh, when did I sell this card? I don't remember selling this card. I look at December 28th. They waited until, I think it might be 6 months now, but it used to be 3 months. And every once in a while, I would get one of those skeezy eBay buyers that would wait until like the 11th hour, 3 months, and there's no tracking on this. I can get my $5 back. So I'm like, this was shipped in December. And the caveat, they left positive feedback. That's what fired me up. That's the point that really, I like look back. So when I look back, so that's how I discovered. So I'm like, when did this claim opens up? And I'm like, gosh, when did I sell this Jeter Downs? It's been a while. So I go back I had to like go onto the website to look at it. It's been so long. And it shows like sold Jeter Downs, whatever, positive feedback received. And I'm like, so that really irked me. Like, not only was this 3 months ago, you left positive feedback. So I responded, and I think it's human nature that we just assume somebody's trying to rip us off, because I've actually had people reach out, and since there's no tracking, some people, for whatever reason, they only go by what eBay tells them. They like blindly believe, I'm going through my purchases, this one wasn't delivered, I never got it. And I don't know, we're all wired differently, but I've never understood that, like aimlessly, blindly following eBay's shipped, delivered notifications. Anyway, so I thought, I'm going to give them, before I just go to Twitter and blast this eBay username, I'm going to hold off because maybe it was an honest mistake. They just were looking through and it wasn't marked delivered. So they assumed they never received it, because that surprisingly does happen. So it's been 24 hours. I've not received any response. I'm going to send them another message today. And if they don't by tomorrow, then I'm going to blast their username, block them, and move on with my life. So, yeah, it is the principal, Zach. It's $8 and the principal. Even if it was, I think, where does that line stand on dollar amount? I don't know. This case where positive feedback was received, and I do have a feeling it's a little on the shady side. I'll probably fight this as much as I can, but I don't have this wasn't even tracked. So, I'm fighting a lost cause at this point, because eBay's going to side with this person. And I've actually ran into this in the past. This has actually happened where people have filed a non-receipt claim despite leaving positive feedback. And I've actually called back when you could call and get a hold of customer service through eBay. I've said they left positive feedback. Doesn't matter if it doesn't show delivered. It's not even tracking. If it shows like if you dropped it off at the post office, it was scanned in and it stuck in Milwaukee, and they file a claim and time's up, you're out. It's got to be shown delivered. So I'm going to lose this $5 probably, unless this person drops the claim, which I don't think they will. So we'll see. Yeah, they waited until the last day, and I've had this happen. It's not common. I mean, I ship probably how many transactions? I don't know, 1,000 a month. And this has probably happened 3 times. So out of 20,000 transactions, this has happened like 3 times. So it's not common. I know if I tweet this out, somebody's going to reply, "This is why I don't sell on eBay." Well, it's happened once out of the last 10,000 transactions. This doesn't happen on every other sale. This is an anomaly, but yes, it does happen. And the more sales you have, the more you're open up to these type of things. Yeah, old Fart and Dust 48. What's up, Brian? Good morning. So Brian had an eBayer claim the card never showed up. See, that's what there are a lot of most, I shouldn't say a lot, most are on the up and up. And I've run into, what's up, Diego? Good morning. I've run into a lot of honest sellers, like the guy a couple of weeks ago that 2 months later, he got his refund, and 2 months later, the card showed up. They were stuck in the post office for 2 months, and he mailed them back. He could have kept them. If he would have messaged me and said, "Hey, by the way, 2 months later, those cards showed up. You gave me your money back. You gave me my money back. But I want to send these back." And I would have said, "Save the stamp. I don't want them." They were Prism draft pick baseball of like guys that I'm not even going to take the time to relist them right now. They're going to be stuffed in a box, and maybe in 3 years, they might become a big leaguer or a top prospect. They're not even top prospects right now. So they're just going to go in a box somewhere. So, so that's that. So that's my eBay rant for the day. Stay tuned. We've still got 24 hours until the next one that could pop up. So I wanted to talk about eBay appeal and Target, my Target run. So I messaged Rippin' One-Handed, and he's kind of given up on retail, and he used to wait, and he's a ripper. Like doesn't flip at all. He just goes and waits to rip. And he pretty much has stopped going. So I messaged him yesterday, and I'm like, "Hey, because he knows some of the other guys that are in line. I said, "Hey, have you heard anything about the vendor today?" And he had popped into the Target closest to my house and said it hadn't been stocked yet. So, and this was around noon. So I was going to swing by. If he had stocked that one in the morning, I was going to swing by on my lunch break. And then usually he stocks that store like in the late afternoon. So I'm like, I'll just save the trip and I'll just make a run after work. So so I didn't go at lunch. So I went to that store after work. He had stocked. There was not a single, and I was hoping Heritage showed up because I want to rip some Heritage, but I did receive my shipping notification from Target online. I have 3 blasters that are in transit, and they'll probably be here Tuesday. So I'll be ripping some Heritage, and I'll do those live on Tuesday night. So I stopped in. Now he did have a ton of, and I showed these off earlier this week. I made a non-card Target run. And they had a couple of the 500 count sleeves. So there were a ton. There were probably 10 packages of those yesterday afternoon. I thought about buying some. They're $5.99 for 500, which is really good price. But I think I'm going to meet up with Brian today. Brian in the chat here. You can find him on Twitter, Offbeat All Stars. So I think I'm going to meet up with him today at the card shop, which in the card shop is like they're actually legit penny sleeves. I can get 500 for $5, so I'll save $1. But so I plan on picking up like 20 packs at the card shop today. So there was a bunch of penny sleeves, but nothing else. No sports cards at all. Not a single pack, not a single blaster, just one giant empty space where the sports card could be with some penny sleeves splayed out. So I'm like, I'm going to go down to the Hilldale Target and see if they have anything. So as I walked in, the vendor was there, and there were like 3 Target employees, like insane. Like there was a female employee who was like kind of like on the end cap. I think she was like the director of everything. The vendor was there. There was another Target employee that was like assisting the vendor at the shelf. And then there was a line, and the line was probably 25 people deep down the aisle. And there was a Target employee there directing the line. Okay, you and you can go now. And then they were like, this is insane. So I asked the lady, is there a sign-in? Because now our local Targets, they have a sign up. You have to sign in, you get in line, and then you have to be there once your name is called. Otherwise, it goes to the next in line. So she's like, oh, the line was filled up by 11 a.m. this morning. Jeez, are you kidding me? So I'm like, all right. She's like, well, once everybody goes through the line, it's open for anybody, and whatever's left, you might have a chance. But she's like, there's a lot of people in line, and I'm like, I'm not wasting my time for probably nothing. So I got the coffee that I bought, and I bought a roll of painter's tape because this Target's not like an In-N-Out. This is, and I showed the picture online, and I had like 3 comments like, that's the biggest Target I've ever seen. And it's a process just to get in there, because there's an underground parking garage. So, and then you have to walk across the parking lot. You have to take an escalator up because the store is basically on the 2nd floor. Take an escalator up, and then the card section's like in the middle of the store, not like on the end. So then you have to walk halfway in the store. So it's like my exercise when I go, because I get a lot of steps in going to look at the cards. So bought a couple things and to make that walk worth it. So I may stop by. It's on the way to the card shop this afternoon. I may stop in just to see if there's any scraps left over. I highly doubt it, especially by, whatever time this afternoon the weekend shoppers are going to get it. So I don't have much faith in anything being left over. 3 card shops on Thursday, plenty of sleeves and other supplies, limits placed on all cases, prices were normal. That's a good thing. Yeah, George, I think this year is going to be until things open up. And it was interesting that I was actually on my way to the various Targets yesterday. I was listening to sports talk radio here out of Milwaukee, I think. And they were talking about NBA Top Shot. And they did bring up a great point, which is what I've always agreed with, is that this insanity is going to last until we're at 100%, like the world opens up again. I think right now we're were trending, and I talked about this, a while back. I think that this hobby train has so much momentum. A year ago, well, at this point, a year ago, we were just starting the quarantines, and I would have said, "Oh, the hobby's gonna take a hit. Everything's gonna be half price. It's gonna be a buyer's market." Boy, was I wrong. I could not have been more wrong with that thought. So I was always skeptical. Oh, the bubble's going to burst. I'm at the point now that we're so far into this, I don't think it's a bubble. There's going to be a correction. It's not prices. I mean, demand keeps going up and prices keep going up. But it's not going to last. Like, things are going to settle. And even if they come down half, it's probably going to be, even if they come down this much, it's still going to be above the floor that we were at a year ago. So I think once we do open things up, then, and the guy, I think it was actually Ben Brust, a former Wisconsin Badger basketball player that's host on the show. One of the guys on the show was saying, we don't have concerts to spend money on. We're not going out to eat. Many people are not. We're not going to games. There's not all of these. We're not taking vacations. Vacations are expensive. And what are we doing with that money? A lot of people like to spend money and be entertained. And we're not being entertained by concerts and baseball games and vacations. So where are we putting that entertainment money? It's going into the hobby. It's going into the baseball cards and Top Shot, and that's what I think is causing all this. So when we have concerts again, when stadiums are open to 100% capacity, when you can fly and you feel safe to take vacations, that entertainment money budget is going to be cut drastically, and there's not going to be as much money pouring in. But I don't think it's going to totally crash like I thought 6 months ago. I thought, okay, the world's going to open up by spring, and it's gonna come back to earth. But the hobby train has so much momentum. It's like a heavy freight train. It's going to take a lot to stop this momentum, and I think we're in it for another year at least, maybe 2 years. But we will see a correction. And I think as the world opens up, we'll start to see somewhat of a decline, because I think what's going to happen is right now people are just running to everything. And I think even there was a conversation where people were talking about Heritage Blasters. Now, last year, Heritage Blasters, and Heritage came out in what, April maybe? I can't remember when it was released, but Heritage Blasters were still on the shelf in like December in my area. Like, the only thing you could find was, oh, there's another Topps Heritage Blaster, because it's just, there's not enough demand for that product. But right now, like, people are just foaming at the mouth trying to get new product that maybe the shelves will remain empty even on these products that in the past have not been as craved. So it'll be interesting to see. Card collecting can occur at home. Absolutely. And that's the awesome place we're at, because when we were growing up, I think most of us are about the same age in the chat. Growing up in the late 80s and in the early 90s during the last hobby boom, where did you get your cards? You couldn't go online. You maybe could pick up the JCPenney or Sears catalog and order a box from phone order and get it in 6 to 8 weeks. But we had to go to Walmart or Target or Venture. Remember Venture? Venture had an awesome card selection. Or your local card shop. So now it's completely different, where we can just hop on. Like, I got Heritage Blasters on Target earlier this week. Gypsy Queen at $275 for a hobby box. That's just insane. But I'm not a hobby box, or I'm not a Gypsy Queen fan. I'm an Allen and Ginter fan. So, but there's no way, even liking Allen and Ginter, I would not pay those prices. Like I'm at the point where it's like, I'm not going to pay up for retail. I'm not going to pay these crazy hobby prices. I actually stopped paying, like Bowman went up drastically in like 2018, 3 years ago. And I was hoarding retail Bowman in 2018 because I wasn't going to pay $200 for a hobby box of Bowman. I lost my tail in 2017 buying a case of Bowman for $800, and I probably only made half my money back. So a year later, you're telling me I've got to pay $2,000 for a case? Heck no. So I started the retail archives. I've always been retail because, especially one year, there was a crazy year where Topps Archives retail came out like 2 months ahead of hobby. And there's really nothing more in hobby. I think I bought 4 blasters, and I was pulling my initial 4 blasters. I was pulling an autograph 1 out of every 2 blaster boxes. And I think the actual odds were like 1 in 6. So I got lucky. But a hobby box of archives, 1 auto per box, I think, maybe 2 autos per box. And it's likely it's an archives fan favorite autograph. Yet boxes at this time, this was 2-3 years ago, for $100 when I can buy 5 blasters and probably pull the same 2 autos, and get more cards. So I've kind of been on the retail. Topps Heritage is a crappy retail product historically. Allen and Ginter is a terrible garbage retail product historically. But when you look at prices for hobby compared to retail becomes a better buy. Although Heritage Hobby is still, it's not insane. It's still reasonable, I guess you could call it. Canada Jumbo Box was $300 in 2019, $800. Yeah, it's absolutely, what's up, Ryan? It's absolutely, what's up, Matthew? Hobby on Bowman is just absolutely insane. It's crazy. Casey had 1 to 2 card shops, however, in the last year, 5 to 6 more. Yeah. And this is what we saw in the early 90s. I remember growing up before like the big boom, there were maybe 1 or 2 card shops. And I grew up in a pretty isolated area. We had the Quad Cities 30, 35 minutes down the road. But, my immediate, within 10 minutes, there were a couple big cities with stoplights and the Walmart. So we had one about 10 miles down the road, one 10 to 15 miles down the road. And they went from like 1 or 2 card shops in this small little area to like, I think at the height by like 91, there were like 8 or 9 card shops. And I mean, we're talking towns of 6,000 and 12,000. And even a town between us had a card shop, and it was the same size as my hometown, about 900 to 1,000 people. There was a card shop. It was like in the Midwest, it was like Casey's. There's a Casey's in every small town. We had a card shop in every small town. Yeah, Madison, we're down to 1 right now. We're at 1 card shop, and it's the worst. When you say that, I just picture the greeting we get when we walk in. Yeah, we're down to 1 card shop. We had a really good one on Whitney Way, the baseball card shop, and that's the one that flooded. I posted the blog. I went in a few days after the flood and talked to Tom, who owned it. He still deals. He deals out of his garage like once a month, and then he sets up at card shows and does some eBay as well. Your laughter means it's true. So speaking of that, I'm going to go to the card shop today. And so I actually wrote this, I think 2 weeks ago when I went down to Freeport, or was that last week? When did I go down? It must've been 2 weeks ago. No, it was last week. I can't remember. So I wrote down, what do I look for when I'm going to the card shop? So I love digging in dollar boxes. And as Brian knows, I can just stand there and flip through boxes for hours. And one of the last time Brian's like, how much longer are you going to be looking at cards? Okay. Yeah. So I'll wrap one more pile. And guess what? One more pile is like, when somebody says, yeah, I'm just going to have one more beer. It turns into like 5 more. And that's how I am at the card shop going through stacks of dollar cards. So I'm always looking for those bargains. I'm always looking for Cubs, but when I'm looking through dollar boxes, I am particular because I'm not going to spend money on like a 125th card of Ryan Sandberg from 92 Upper Deck. Brian has small children and needs to get home. I probably don't need as much time today because I don't think he restocks those boxes. He probably won't restock those boxes for another 5 years. But surprisingly, I pulled some great cards out of there, when we were there a month ago or so. But when I was in there last time, there was like he hadn't restocked any of those. So same old cards. Actually, I think it was the last time you and I were in there, last week or 2 weeks ago. So yeah, he'll fill it up. The next time he restocks those dollar boxes, you'll find 2021 Heritage and it'll be 2027. So I look through the dollar boxes. So I'm particular about my Cubs. Like I don't want to pull, like I don't want to spend even a quarter on like another Ryan Sandberg card. I always pull any serial numbered cards because I obviously don't have it, even though I may have 2 or 3 of 499 Starlin Castro. I don't have this one. So I'll pick up any for $1 or less. I'll pick up any of those, any serial number, any autos, relics, if they're reasonable priced. I'm not going to pay $5 for an Allen and Ginter white patch relic. But I'd probably pay $1 if I didn't have it. So I'm always looking for those. And then any cards that I can flip, like the Justin Verlander that I was shocked at how much those sell for, or the Alex Verdugo Chrome rookie auto. If I can get those at good prices that I know there's room to flip, I'll get those. And sometimes you can really find some good bargains. Like when I was in Freeport, I found that Trout New Era. I thought it was just a base Trout, but it looked like it could be a variation. And I pulled it out and it's a $25 to $35 card. And I got it for 50 cents. The Chris Bryant red letter name, pulled that out 50 cents and it sells for like 50 to 75 bucks. Obviously that's in my own collection, not my flip collection, but so that's what I'm looking for. And then if he has any monster boxes today, I do need to get a couple monster. I have, obviously, look behind me, I have a ton, but I would have to empty the boxes out. I love to consolidate, but I've gone through a lot of consolidating in the last year being at home. And I'm kind of, I've kind of consolidated everything that can be consolidated, which has also created issues with some of the trades I've done. Like, hey, I need 83 tops. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've got plenty of 83 tops. Oh shoot, it's not in the 83 tops box anymore. And that's how, when you see these collections on Craigslist, it's like, ooh, 1978 tops. Oh, there's a 75 tops box there. Well, who knows how many times that box was consolidated. Like a lot of my boxes behind me, it's like, I think that one right there says 08. And who knows what's in there. It could be 89 Donruss, because it's been consolidated so often. So that's what I look for when I'm going to the card shop. Today, my plan is I'm just gonna glance at the dollar cards just to see if by stroke of luck Jim has updated the cards. I doubt he has, but I'll take that look. I need penny sleeves, and if he has the 4-row boxes, I'll buy 2 of those. Never trust the label. That is exactly right. Never trust that label. So, and then, I'm thinking about pulling the trigger. If he has the 2020 Bowman Draft hobby box still, I may pull the trigger. I don't know, because I ordered 3 mega boxes from Target this week, the Topps mega boxes. Those are being delivered today. And then I've got my 3 blasters of Heritage. I'm gonna rip the Heritage like as soon as they get here on Tuesday. The Topps mega boxes that I have coming today, I'll probably save those for opening day because I'm gonna have an opening day myself. I did take the whole day off, April 1st, and I'm just gonna open. I've got my complete sets I'm gonna rip open. I've got some 2016 blasters. I'll have my Topps mega boxes, and then if I happen to run into any retail in the next week and a half, I'll pick up something to rip as well. So I was considering that 2020 Bowman Draft hobby box. It is pricey. I don't know. Brian bought 550 plus 83 Topps incomplete set. Nice. $40 shipped. That's a pretty good deal. And I saw your 78 Topps. That was awesome. 78 Topps to me was, I love 78 Topps design, and I think most people hate it. I like it because it has sentimentality. Is that a word? Sentimentality. It's sentimental for me. 78 Topps was the first vintage set that I ever had a card of or saw myself. And it was my neighbor. So my neighbor had a son who was quite a bit old, probably 15 years older than me. So 78 was like when he was a kid, and was collecting cards. And so my neighbor, like, this was probably 89, 90 in that era. And my neighbor's like, you can come look, there's cards. And I found like 5 or 6. I remember the one card I remember, and they were like all Montreal Expos, and they were all banged up. I think Santiago, I was thinking Casilla, but Santiago Espinal. I can't remember, but played for the Expos. That was like my first vintage. And the funny thing is, now I look back and I laugh because 1978 then was probably only 12. Like, this was probably 1990, 12 years between 78 Topps and 90, but it was before I was born. It was vintage to me. Now I'm thinking 12 years ago was I have to do the math. 2009. That's like a kid today saying 2009 is vintage. I would take offense to that. 2009 is not vintage. But in 1990, 1978 was vintage. So that's why I have a soft spot in my heart for 78 Topps. I have a binder of 78 Topps that I actually bought probably 5 or 6 years ago. I bought Craigslist lot. And that's the main reason I bought it, was because there were a couple monster boxes of 77 and 78 Topps. Now filled my car up. It was probably 200 to 250,000 cards. There were probably 5,077 Topps, 5,078 Topps, 5,079 Topps. And then I think there were five rows of 85 Topps. And I bought it all for $200. There's no way you'll find a deal like that today, just the way everything is. And I sold like most of it on, I sold a ton of singles on Sport Lots. And I was selling lots on eBay and getting nothing for them. But I have like one binder left of 77 and 78 because I was going to build the sets. And then I just I've never been a set builder. I build them, and then it's like, sell them, or I pull the singles out, and I pretty much pulled all the singles out of those, the money singles, I guess you could call them. So, yeah, $850 for 140 cards. That is a great deal. And now I'm looking back, it's like I paid like so little for those, but yet I would like, if I was at a like card shop and I saw 140 78 Topps singles for $850, I'd buy them. I'd totally buy them. I guess that's how our mindset changes when the hobby is so wild like this. Somebody asked I think Dan might have asked earlier. So we have the hobby roundtable tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time. Herman's hosting, so it's going to be on his channel, 3B Collection. So Herman's going to be on there. Rich Lyon's going to be on there. George, are you going to be on Hobby Roundtable tonight? I can't remember who all is going to be on. I saw the tweet. I think I retweeted it. But there's going to be 10 of us on. Probably go 2 hours. Starts at 7. 3B Collections channel. Check out Brad's getting ready for Hobby Hotline, so check him out. Brad is with Stale Gum and I think maybe Jeremy Lee today on Hobby Hotline. So that's wow, 30 minutes away. I've rambled for 40 minutes already. So awesome. So George will be there. So Hobby Hotline's coming up in about a half an hour. I think it's Hobby Hotline on YouTube. So check them out. So that's all I had for today. Have a good one, and we'll talk tomorrow.